Joshua Devine, a Chicopee native and U.S. Army veteran, recently went missing after a scuba diving excursion off the coast of Thailand. Jennifer Bakowski, Josh's sister, joined me in the studio to talk about her recent trip there to learn about efforts to find her brother and the continuing questions surrounding his disappearance.
We wanted to go just because, we had seen so many different variations of the story in the media, so we figured if we went there and actually saw the people that were involved in the search, we might get a better sense of what was actually happening.
Was it your sense that as much as they could, the Thai government, and granted it's a lot different from, say, the U.S. government in a case like this, but the feeling that everything possible was being done to find your brother?
I think everything that could have been done was done, but unfortunately we lost a critical piece of time because there was the New Year's holiday that we lost time on. There was a communication gap of time that we lost. So once they actually were able to get involved fully, they really did try, but they have such resource restrictions that it's painful, and even they'll tell you that, yeah.
Let's take a minute and go through some of what's been reported. And I know your family has questioned some of what's been said, but there were reports that your brother was drinking, he was upset. Some of the fellow divers on the trip took him to a quiet area, a storage room, to let him be calm. Reportedly said they came back a few minutes later and he was gone. The assumption has been made that he got up, went out in not the best condition, and fell overboard. I know I've seen reports your mother said the strange part about it is when my son had a couple of drinks, he was the friendliest guy in the world, not belligerent. So that right away has raised flags for you, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. My brother is, he does like to party. He's a happy guy. So for us to read that he became so agitated that he started, destroying things and being violent towards, other passengers on the boat was just so out of character for him that it immediately screamed that he had been drugged. And it may not have been, on purpose. We've been reading reports that there are things that are put in Thai alcohol that can actually poison people. So, I mean, it could have been completely on accident that this happened, but that's just not how my brother operates.
There have also been reports that because of communication problems where they were at the time, that the dive ship itself did some searching for several hours before they went to a point where they could get a radio call out to the Marine Police or the Thai Navy. One is, does that check with what you've heard, and how concerned are you about that? That's a big chunk of time that who knows what could have happened.
That's a serious issue because, so from what I've researched, having line of sight communication on a passenger boat is just unheard of. That's not safe. If there's a fire on the boat or the boat starts to sink, you're kind of out of luck. You have to be able to see another boat in order for you to jump off of them to get to shore. So that right there screamed to us that there's an issue with maybe the boat company itself. And then the fact that they left the area right at daybreak so that they could go, to a place where they could get communication out, that tells me that you searched for an hour and a half at most, because they're saying now that he went in at 5. Daybreak comes around 6:37, and that's when they left to go and make the phone call. So, it's very confusing to me, like why you would leave the scene right when daybreak comes, when you can put people in the water, you can, start doing your grid search then.
I haven't heard you say anything that sounds accusatory of anybody. Do you, your mom, have a feeling that rather than foul play, perhaps mistakes were made, bad decisions were made, and now people are afraid, ashamed, embarrassed maybe even to come forward and say, here's more of what we know, or here's what we're pretty sure happened? Yeah,
I don't like to accuse people of being awful, because I feel like a lot of times that's not the intent. I think that he, if he were drinking and he were to become that way, and he did go into the water, I think that they did feel ashamed or embarrassed that they didn't didn't have proper communication to shore. Maybe that's a problem for them because, you know, that's a law that they're breaking and they don't want to come forward and say that. But, you know, I feel like there's more to the story that we're just not getting. So we're hoping that more of the people that were on the boat will come forward and at least tell us, just fill us in on the first couple hours before the boat left, you know, shore.
You're back home now, but obviously still in communication with various agencies. Do you think you're still getting, without being there to kind of be a constant presence, are you still getting cooperation? Are you still getting answers, or is it getting difficult?
It's getting difficult to deal with our own embassy. I've emailed them several times to get a statement from them that says my brother's missing, because we need that in order to take care of his finances. And there's, you know, we're just not getting any responses from our own government now. But the Thais are actually going through and looking at everything that happened during Josh's case and see if they can ramp up some efforts to get better resource funding, to maybe imply some more regulations to boats so that search efforts can be conducted better. You would like folks, if they know or hear or think they know anything, send you a private message on Facebook. Yep, on the Bring Josh Home Safe page. It's set up, it's public. My personal email is on there as well if they don't have a Facebook account, so they can't message on Facebook. My email is on there as well. Your family clearly is not giving up hope. No. My brother didn't quit on anything or anybody, so it would be silly for us to do that to him. Well, Jennifer Bakowski, best to you and your mom, your family. Everybody's hoping along with you. Thanks for coming and talking with us. Thank you.